All right, look, Republicans have to stop pretending that this is not happening. We see it every day with our own eyes. Donald Trump's decline, whether it be mental or physical, is getting rapidly worse, and it's not something the Republicans can ignore any longer. Earlier today, for example, Donald Trump was dozing off in the middle of a White House meeting that was public, and it was all caught on camera. And this meeting was at like 1 p.m. in the afternoon. It was not early morning or late at night, middle of the day, and Donald Trump was falling asleep. For years, Republicans picked on every single mistake that Joe Biden would make randomly. But when Donald Trump is falling asleep in meetings on camera, they're silent. So I'm going to talk about this clip with you, show this clip to you. But before I do that, I want to get into this article from the Rolling Stone. They recently put together a full article of some of Donald Trump's recent decline moments. And when you look at it as a whole, it's clear that something is just not right. So their article is titled, "Trump's Senior Moments Are Getting Worse." Donald Trump's bizarre combination of speech mannerisms, physical quirks, and garish physical appearance has, over the past decade of his political career, often functioned as Teflon. The president's absurdist, abhorrent political persona is endlessly mockable, which is true, but it's also a key component of his increasingly authoritarian politics, and his presentation only seems to be getting worse. Trump is the oldest man to assume the presidency in the history of the United States, which again is incredibly hypocritical of the Republicans. They complained about Biden's age and then elected the oldest person to ever be president. I digress. If the standard, as Trump has himself stressed repeatedly in reference to Biden, is that a president's cognitive decline is a disqualifier and a potential liability, it's worth taking a look at the man currently sitting behind the Resolute desk and some of his more egregious senior moments in his second term as president. Let's start here with one of the more recent moments. Trump told a false story about his uncle teaching the Unabomber. Now, that's a sentence I never thought I'd have to say, but in Trump's America, who knows what's going to happen? Earlier this month, while addressing attendees at a Pennsylvania energy summit, Trump told a bizarre story about his uncle, former MIT professor John Trump, saying, quote, "Ted Kaczynski was one of his students," Trump claimed, referring to the Unabomber. "That's a smart man. Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was?" Trump said. "There's very little difference between a madman and a genius. But Kaczynski," I said. "What kind of a student was he, Uncle John?" Dr. John Trump. He said, "Seriously good." He said he'd go around correcting everybody, but it didn't work out so well for him. Now, reading that paragraph in and of itself, it's total jumble. I mean, it's all over the place, but basically nothing about this story, outside of Trump's uncle being a professor at MIT, was true. Kaczynski was not a student at MIT. Ever. He got his undergraduate degree at Harvard, completed his master's and doctorate at the University of Michigan. John Trump also died in 1985, more than a decade before Kaczynski was caught and identified as the Unabomber, meaning it's extremely unlikely, if not almost impossible, that John Trump would have known him, and there's no reason that Trump would have asked his uncle about Kaczynski. This is something that Donald Trump genuinely made up out of thin air. Or what about this one, which we covered on this channel? Trump said he was surprised that Jerome Powell, whom he appointed, was appointed. Powell was appointed to this position as Fed chair in 2018 by Donald Trump, but earlier this month, Trump complained that Powell was a terrible Fed chair. Quote, "I'm surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in and extended him." Now, Biden did reappoint Powell, but he never appointed him. That happened under Donald Trump. Matter of fact, there's video out there of Trump speaking at the White House announcing that Jerome Powell has been appointed chair, and he was complimenting him. Does Donald Trump not remember that moment? What about this one? Trump dumped his own trade deal. During his first term, Trump regularly made a point of criticizing NAFTA and exhaled his own negotiations of the USMCA, which was Donald Trump's trade agreement. He said, "I look at these agreements, I'd read them at night, and I'd say, who would ever sign a thing like this?" Trump said of past economic trade deals, "Other nations best beware. Negotiating a trade deal with the White House in order to avoid punishing tariffs may only be a temporary solution, as the president may soon forget that he signed it," that being the USMCA. He was criticizing his own trade deal. Now, there are many more examples of this. Donald Trump has had a lot of these moments, but I do want to get into this video with you of Donald Trump falling asleep during this meeting because it's not only embarrassing for Trump, but also embarrassing for the United States of America. So just take a look at this clip. It is wild.
Using this kind of technology because we'll know who you are and who your doctor is. We can block this. We're going to have remarkable advances in how consumers can use their own records. We'll have beneficiaries be able to get MAHA advice and prevention tips and even be able to nudge them and reward them perhaps for that. And all this comes back to one fundamental issue, Mr. President, which is leadership. I think 60 people, the biggest, the best, the willing, came forward because
Look, his eyes are fully closed there. I mean, his eyes are fully closed in the middle of this meeting. It's terrible.
your leadership, because you weren't going to take no for an answer, and they know it. We are building a robust and safe, I emphasize that, safe system. It's going to protect the data better than we could have imagined. We're going to be able to accomplish goals that all of us wished from day one that would be in place. These pledges are now confirmed.
Yeah, that moment right there. Look at his eyes are not open. He's sitting there with his eyes closed almost the entire time. This is insane.
These pledges are now confirmed. They're signed in public. You have therefore empowered Americans to own their property, which is their medical records.
Yeah, he has absolutely no idea what's going on. That right there was pretty stunning. Where if I can find it, where he was just like, he was looking around the room, his eyes were still closed. This is stunning. And it's especially stunning and frustrating for me, and I know you as well, because the Republicans, as I mentioned earlier, for years would pick on anything Biden did. The shoes he wore, the way he walked, the way he spoke, everything. And now Trump is falling asleep in meetings, and it's not a peep from them. They're totally silent. This clip also happened on the same day, twice in the same day. Earlier today, Donald Trump forgot that a congressman was standing behind him, completely forgot. So I'm just going to show you this clip, and the transcript is on your screen right now. You can read it, but it's even worse when you actually watch the video. Take a look.
Thrilled to be joined by the bill's sponsor, Congressman Derek Van Orden. Where's Derek? Derek? Hello, Derek. I didn't see you back there. Let's see. And Mike, how are you, Mike? Mr. President. These two gentlemen are terrific. They are working together, and they've been working together, Mike, a long time on this.
He had no idea, absolutely no idea that the congressman was standing behind him. Derek Van Orden from Wisconsin, right over Donald Trump's right shoulder, which Donald Trump would have seen when walking into the room or when walking into the room with the congressman. But shocking. Trump had no idea that he was there. And Republicans want to claim that he's perfectly fine. He's totally sharp. And as I mentioned, they can ignore this, but the American people aren't. We just got a new poll from Data for Progress that shows that the majority of people asked now believe that Donald Trump is experiencing cognitive decline that affects his ability to lead. More Americans than ever at this point, according to this new polling, think that Donald Trump is unable to lead because of his cognitive decline. The American people are paying attention. Republicans can say, oh, this clip doesn't, it's not real or whatever it is. They can come up with whatever excuse they choose, but it's not working. And you can see it in the numbers. So anyway, I just had to show you this clip of Donald Trump falling asleep in a meeting, which is so crazy to think about, but I will leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.